Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of GRM's Digital Drop. It's Harry Hamid and I'm joined today by two of my colleagues. You can be familiar with Rob, but we're also joined today by Ida, who's one of our digital strategists. Today's podcast is all about retaining members during an economical downturn. Now, the reason why we've decided to do this podcast is because as we approach a recession, and we come out the back end of COVID-19, many organisations and membership organisations are finding that many of their members are actually leaving the organisation. So for us, we wanted to create a podcast with some useful information around how you can implement strategies to retain your membership base. So with that, I'd just like to open it up to the floor, starting with Rob. How are you today, Rob? And could you share some insights around different strategies that membership organisations can use to retain members throughout this economical downturn?
Yeah, I'll start off with number one, and for me that it's probably just being a bit more flexible with like payment options and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I know we've worked with a lot of membership organisations who just have one specific way that you might be able to pay for a membership, like an annual fee or something like that, and I think it's probably now is a good time to look at how we can make that cost a little bit easier and a bit more affordable for people, maybe spreading that over a period of months or something like that, just make it a little bit easier for people to want to stay as a member. I think that's what I'd go with first.
Yeah, I've seen something interesting online not long ago. It's very hard to sell a yearly commitment like membership, especially for those like new members, not 100% sure the value that you give and so on. So there's been a bit of that flexibility where you commit for a 12-month contract, however you only pay for 9 months, and you've got that break clause after I think 2 or 3 months, where you can still decide to leave if you don't see enough value from that membership organization. So I think that kind of flexibility would definitely entice me to go and become a member, and then there's nothing to lose after 3 months if you don't find any value. Obviously you go separate ways and look at alternatives, but definitely there's so much technology out there and it's not complex to implement from the technology point of view to allow these flexible payment terms.
Yeah, I think when you're actually talking about renewing as well, like if you see, and let's just say you might not feel like you're getting full value out of the membership, and then you see like the annual fee of like, I don't know, £1,000 or something like that. That makes you question the value even more when you see it in like one big chunk, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if you can obviously split it and like see if you're going to get value for the next month or something like that, and then if you're not, you can cancel. And I guess just being a bit more flexible with members is a good thing.
Yeah, and I think as we've seen a little bit of difference in how members behave and about their needs during COVID. I think we're also now, there's like another wave of possible changes in members' behaviors and their preferences, and obviously that's impacted by recession. And I think maybe now is a good point also to consider maybe running some surveys, having more open conversations with your members, trying to understand where they see value in your organization, what they might find interesting, where they feel like they're lacking support. So I would say probably like something for 2023 to consider is more open, like one-on-one.
Yeah, like a dialogue with the members, because like, what they valued like 2 years ago might be completely different to what they value now. And yeah, we're just there talking about flexible payment plans and stuff like that. Just ask them. Do you know what I mean? Just see if they actually want that sort of stuff.
So Ida, to build on what you said there in terms of the member surveys, are there any other strategies that membership organisations can use to try and identify the needs and wants of their members to try and add value to them as members?
There are. I mean, surveys are typically like the quickest way to identify problems, challenges, and they're usually the cheapest way as well to run them. But there's also a lot of like one-on-ones you could do with a particular type of members that you have. So some sort of survey calls. It would be always ideal to put something in place like in return. So I don't know, maybe to give them some sort of vouchers or codes for if you schedule a 15 or 20 minute call with someone one-on-one and ask them certain questions, then you know, it'll be really nice for your members to receive a little bit of that in return, whatever that is, discount vouchers, magazines, subscriptions.
Yeah, that's the next one I had on my list. It's like helping members save costs as well. Like I'd say that's an important one during like a time when they might not be looking to renew, because you start off playing like what a discount might get you for the cost of this membership, you know. So
just an open question for you both. We touched on payment options earlier. Would different tiers of membership potentially be a strategy for membership organisations to look at? If they were to offer different levels of access, say for different types of members, so you could have somebody with only a very limited access just to information, and then you could have maybe a full member who's got access to the content and information, but also maybe a member zone where they can connect with other members of the membership organisation or other professionals within their networks.
I think that's a really good question, and something that we've been closely working with some of our clients, and that does require a little bit of potential change in the way that their business operates. But if you look at like big organizations, they're trying to secure more new members every year. You want to, you know, acquire more members. A lot of times I've seen students are being interested in particular organizations, so it would be really good, given that students probably don't have full-time jobs and everything else, to give them that free membership, and then possibly restructure your current membership levels, as you've explained, Harry, maybe to give them some benefits / restrictions depending on the value of the membership. And then also it would be a shame to lose some of the members when they come at the end of their career, so something like retired membership. And again, that shouldn't be a full cost, it should be a fraction, but it's always nice to think about people who are in retirement still to contribute towards the community, because they have so much experience in many aspects.
Yeah, and I think to add to that as well, from like when it comes to retention, you'd probably rather have someone downgrade their membership to a lower paid tier than actually leaving altogether. So if you notice that you've got like drop-offs in like your lowest level tier already, is there anything that you can offer of value underneath that that just keeps people on as a paying member, rather than just sees them disappear completely? I think that's definitely worth looking into for membership organisations.
Yeah, I think what you've touched on there is really informative, and hopefully the audience can really implement a few of those points that we've mentioned. Just in terms of getting these messages in front of the members, then, what means or channels of communication do membership organisations have at their disposal now amidst this current financial downturn to help them retain the membership base that they've currently got? So how can they communicate effectively with their members to demonstrate value?
Well, I think most of the ones that we're working with seem to have an email list as the primary way of communicating with all their members. They're never the most like well segmented lists. You know, we know that's a problem in membership organisations and the data they've got at hand, but that's probably a way that they can use that to communicate value more. Like a lot of them seem to send like generic newsletters that have like, they raise awareness of topics within a certain industry, but they're not really selling themselves well, and that's something we see quite a lot of. Would you agree with that?
I agree, and my only thought in that regard is that emails are just like one-way communication. What you want to strike possibly in this current climate is more of that like both-sided communication. So
dialogue.
That dialogue could be opened through chats on your website or on your social media. So more of those would get you feedback a lot quicker and make certain decisions as an organization. So I'm always more of a fan of things where you could have that open conversation rather than data about this is how many people opened your emails and this is what they clicked on. they're fine, but it's not like actual insight for me.
A question that just came to mind as you were both explaining your points there is, are there any ways, or have you come across any membership organisations that we work with currently who have tried to streamline the process for renewals of memberships? So one of the things that came up in conversation for me is that sometimes members drop off because the renewal process is very long and it's time consuming. Is there any ways that you've come across, or any examples you've come across rather, of membership organisations streamlining that process to make renewals quicker and easier for their current membership base?
Yeah.
Well, I think you probably know the examples more, working closer with the clients, but I've come across a lot of membership organisations still using like paper-based stuff, which is like a bit mad.
That phones as well.
Yeah,
is
like very admin heavy, isn't it? A lot of it.
Yeah, because what you got to do is then connect the offline and online. But
and it's requiring the person who's renewing to actually spend some time doing something, which is like another barrier to renewal in my eyes.
Yeah. Typically, it would be like auto renewals, but you would get messaging in time. You know, it's due for renewal in, I don't know, 2 months. If you want to cancel, you've got a month or something along those lines. There's direct debits as well. So the technology is working quite well. It's just about getting membership organizations to accept the technology and to kind of go with where the rest of the world is heading. I think, if you look at Amazon or any online shops like ASOS, the payments are just small, like very, very quick, and you don't even have to deal with re-entering your cards. They already know your card details and everything, so it's a very smooth process. So it's now about getting membership organizations to that level as close as possible.
Yeah, I think, Rob, what you said there is really important, to move away from sort of paper-based renewals and snail mail, and try and streamline that process with what you said there, Ida, as well. To automate it into automatic renewals is going to really help fill that bottleneck that maybe many membership organisations are facing at the moment.
You love snail mail, by the way.
Yeah.
Just sent out Christmas cards to all our listeners.
Absolutely. Well, Christmas cards are the exception to the rule. I mean, on that point that you mentioned there, I mean, in terms of, Ida mentioned it briefly earlier, in terms of rewarding your current members for providing you with insights into their needs, their challenges and their wants. Are there any particular strategies that membership organisations can use throughout this economic downturn to maybe reward their membership base, or loyal members who have been with them for a number of years? Or potentially, if a member recommends a membership to another person, is there any ways or strategies that membership organisations can use to help with retention of their existing membership in terms of those long-lasting members?
I think there's quite a few different angles to it, but I'd be interested here.
Very open question. I led you in with that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the first point. Just find out what's valuable to them, and just try and overload them with value in a way. That's what you want to do to try and keep them. But I don't know, were you touching on referrals a little bit there in terms of getting, I suppose that's getting more renewals, but yeah, if you can incentivise your loyal members to refer new people as well, that's obviously a great thing.
Because an idea that floated through my mind, and again, do correct me if I'm not on the right lines, but I thought that maybe as a membership organisation we could offer a discounted membership rate to those members who have recommended us to other members who have signed up. And that could be used as a strategy to not only reward the current members but also improve retention and acquisition of new members. So it's sort of a holistic approach to not only rewarding the existing membership base but providing insights around their challenges, wants and needs to help them justify why their network should also be part of that membership association or body.
Yeah, I think obviously like referral schemes are just like powerful across most sectors, but I think the biggest hurdle for memberships implementing this is the how to do it. Like, I think a lot of them would say yes to it, but it's like they're probably just looking at their technology and going, how do we make that feasible to, you know, we've got 100,000 members, let's say 1,000 of them refer someone, how do they keep track of all that in the background without that already adding up to the to the manual task that they might have people doing. So I think obviously some of the bigger membership organisations who've actually got their tech stacks properly set up in the way that they need them, they can maybe plug in a tool that allows them to do that. But there'll be a lot of memberships who aren't even doing the basics right now, and they'll hear that and be like, we want to be there, but that's like a 5-year thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And something that I've been thinking about a lot is this, what I've heard like a term called leaky bucket, where you are acquiring new members, however your current member base is kind of dropping off a lot as well. So I think the answer really is in adding value to your members to stop that leaking bucket, like to keep that retention rate as healthy as possible. I think about 90+% is considered to be like a healthy retention rate. But then the biggest question in membership is, because of the current recession, if your membership is not mandatory, in terms of like, if you can do your job but you don't have to be a member of a particular organization, you will question it. So how do we kind of position the value of the organization to make sure that, you know, people still during this economical downturn renew and see value in your organization? So that's one of the key things probably to take on from today and think about. What values, let's understand our client needs and then try to offer that value, really.
Wonderful. That's all the questions from me. If you've not got anything else to add, I will wrap it up. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's watched our podcast and the audience who are listening. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us here at GRM Digital. We're more than happy to pick the conversation up with you one-to-one. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll be back with you in the new year for another episode of The Digital Drop. Thank you.